Good afternoon, Brockport. I've always wanted to say that. First, let me say how honored I am to be standing here, not just as your speaker today, but as one of you. I sat in these very seats 13 years ago, before Snapchat and TikTok, back in the days when the #1 song on the Billboard Hot 100 was Carly Rae Jepsen's Call Me Maybe. Maybe you've heard of it. If you haven't, don't tell me. I am not emotionally prepared to be reminded how old I am. When I was a freshman here in 2012, I was a nervous kid from a small town, Olean, New York. I went to high school in an even smaller town, Cuba, New York. Making friends had not always been easy for me, and I just wanted to see the world. But on that first day, I could barely see past my own anxiety and what the next 4 years would hold, let alone what would come after graduation. But Brockport quickly became my world. My first dorm and living learning community in McVicker shaped so many of my experiences in communities and offered me my very first Brockport friends, whom I still hold very dear. My first job at Harrison Dining Hall, where I started out making deli sandwiches and refilling milk machines. Thank you for employing me all 4 years. Serving as the election commissioner for Brockport student government, playing for the Brockport Women's Rugby Club, Go Badgers, diving deep into my academic homes, political science, communications, women and gender studies, and international relations. Finally, traveling twice to Europe through Brockport's Eurosim program, huge shout out to Stephen Jurek for making that possible. It was each of those things that gave me the skills, friendship, and confidence, but there was one experience that truly changed the trajectory of my life, the SUNY Washington internship program. Now, for those of you who haven't heard of it, which I think that might be many of you, it was formed right here in Brockport in 1968. And today, we're lucky enough to be joined by one of the program's founding fathers, Bill Andrews. It is thanks to Bill that I am lucky enough to stand up here today. Bill also shared with me the program's origin story, which in true political science fashion, began with a controversial meeting. Back in the late 60s, SUNY had formed these sort of consortiums of campuses to work on joint projects. Brockport was grouped with Geneseo, Cortland, and Oswego, and a history professor from Geneseo pitched the idea of a semester in DC that would be available to all SUNY students. So a meeting was held in 1948, and Brockport's political science professor, Michael Weaver, and Bill arrived late due to weather, only to find that the room was less than enthusiastic about the idea. Bill remembers thinking, all right, we'll just partner with Geneseo and see what happens. But then Henry Steck from Cortland stepped in and said they were in. So just like that, Michael Weaver became the program's first director, launching what would become a life-changing opportunity for thousands of students from a huge variety of SUNY campuses and beyond over the course of the next 50 years. The SUNY Washington program today exists to empower students to lead with purpose, grow through experience, and discover how their passions can shape the world. Students spend a semester or a summer in DC, interning 4 days a week at places that align with their goals and passions, from Capitol Hill to nonprofits, think tanks, law firms, and beyond. On Fridays, the classroom moves to the city. Behind-the-scenes seminars, tours of places like the Supreme Court, and candid conversations with the people shaping our nation. In the fall of 2015, my senior year, I joined that legacy. And before I go any further, I do want to take a moment and say thank you to some special people, my parents. And I think all of us need to reflect on maybe how important those pivotal players are in our lives, whether it be a parent, a guardian, or just someone pushing you forward that helped you be in the circ today. But they were the first ones to believe in me, and also the first ones to encourage me to pack up and move to a brand new, very expensive city for a semester, fully trusting that I could somehow turn it into my future. If you ask them, the seeds for this adventure were planted way back in 2007, when I first visited DC on a 7th grade field trip. My dad, fueled by drip coffee and a passion for US history, bravely chaperoned as a teacher in the district. Leading our group through monuments and museums, I remember falling in love with the city and quietly wondering, how do you get to live here? My parents never stopped believing I'd find that answer. And because of their love, guidance, and occasional gentle nudges, I did. Now fast forward to the fall of 2015, with the encouragement of my advisor and biggest cheerleader, Dr. Andrea Rubery, I applied and was awarded the very generous Michael Weaver Scholarship, which made it financially possible for me to participate. With the guidance and patience of my fearless leaders, Robert Walter and Robert Powell, I was lucky enough to spend the semester interning for Senator Kirsten Gillibrand and working on policy areas that I was extremely passionate about, and learning that I could belong in spaces I once thought too big for someone like me. That semester just didn't give me skills, it gave me direction. I learned about the AmeriCorps program while I was in DC and applied after graduation and swiftly moved to San Marcos, Texas, where I was able to work in disaster recovery for an entire year. That experience fueled my passion for both civic engagement and public health, and ultimately brought me back to DC to work at an advocacy association focused on the advancement of medical innovation. From there, I was able to pursue a master's degree in public health at the George Washington University's Milken Institute of Public Health, an opportunity that was, without question, a direct result of the network and confidence I built here at Brockport and through the SUNY Washington program. Even while working full-time in policy and public health, I stayed connected to the program, speaking on panels, mentoring students, and grabbing coffee with interns who just needed some advice or light encouragement. And then, about a year ago, the universe handed me my next passion project, coming back to Brockport as the internship coordinator for the very program that changed my life. Now I get to work every day with Robert Powell, who was my director and for whom I owe a million thank yous. Helping students find their own life-changing moments in DC, there's never a dull day. I realize today and every day, I'm one of the lucky ones, one of the people who gets to wake up excited to go to work every day. Something I realize as an adult is not the norm for most folks, and I can trace all that back to my time here, to the moments that I said yes, to the communities I joined. So here's my parting advice to all of you. Say yes. Say yes to joining that club that scares you a little. Say yes to taking a class outside your major. Say yes to studying abroad or in DC or anywhere that pushes you outside your comfort zone. Say yes to studying abroad. Say yes to meeting new people, asking questions, to trying something that might just change the course of your life. Because experiential learning isn't just about building your resume. It's about discovering who you are and who you want to be. I was once sitting exactly where you are now, nervous, a little unsure, and saying yes is how I got up here. Thank you all, and welcome to Brockport.